What's the bravest thing you've ever done? Against medical advice and my siblings' wishes, my wife and I signed Dad out of the assisted living home he was in and took him back home. We lived next door. My wife and I took on the responsibilities of caring for him. He died 3 months later, but at least he got to spend those last 3 months with his feet occasionally in the dirt. He loved his garden and in his own home that he built and had lived in for 45 years. Whispered in my daughter's ear that it was okay to give up if she wants to, because we were ready to let go. This was right after we ordered the doctors to remove her ventilator. Obviously, like every child, she didn't listen to her parents and did whatever she wants. She's currently lying in bed, making spit bubbles and pulling her hair. I told a guy who's much older than me to shut up in public because his entire conversational style is flirting with women while low-key insulting every man in the room, and my best friend had just died, so I couldn't handle this guy's shit anymore. I realized right away that I'd never told somebody how I felt like that before. Friend came running and said there was a snake in his house. Without a word, I jumped up, ran to his place, grabbed the snake, and slung it out his back door. A few months ago, we had a bachelor weekend trip for a friend of mine. When we got to the place, we were looking around, and I saw that there was a bat hanging from the ceiling. We tried to get it to leave, but it would just fly around and then hang from another spot. I ended up finding a pool skimmer, which I tried to use to shoo it somewhere so we could trap it under a bucket. What ended up happening is that it started flying around the room, so smacked it with the pool skimmer and it went across the room and into a window. It was dead, obviously. I didn't want to kill the bat, but it just wasn't safe to have in a house full of people, considering they're the most common carrier of rabies. It had to go one way or another. My 3-year-old son once snatched a hornet out of midair to prevent it from stinging me. Of course it stung his hand, and through his tears he said, "But I saved you, didn't I, Mommy?" My heart swells every time I think about it. Moving halfway across the country for my dream job with only a 6-month contract. Then also leaving that dream job after 7 years to pursue a life with the man I love. I ran down a drunk driver that smashed head-on with a vehicle stopped at a stoplight. He exited the vehicle and I saw him leave the scene. I ran from across the street and tracked him down behind some buildings in an alley and cornered him until the cops showed up. I had to go to court twice as a witness because the first time he got the case continued. I was able to testify the second time and he got a few years then deportation as he was here illegally. Sitting with my dad while he was dying. The last 6 months of his life were rough, but he still joked and made the nurses laugh. I split my days between him and my old bachelor uncle, who was dying in another hospital across the city. 2 weeks after Dad died, I sat with my uncle until he passed away. Stood up to a bully in high school. He apparently thought that my poverty was hilarious. He invited me out to the student parking lot after school to settle things. I was there. He showed up with about 30 other students. We've all seen a similar scene on TV or in a movie. He said, "I'm gonna fucking beat you to a fucking bloody pulp." Fuck was his favorite word. I said, "I know, but I'm not a coward." I was scared shitless. He beat me to a bloody pulp. Sadly, this didn't impress him or others. Tackling my father to the ground after he hit my younger brother. I remember hovering over him yelling, "That's not what fathers do." I probably said more things, but that quote still stays in my head 14 years later. I would do anything for my brothers, and that was one of them. It was so reactionary, I don't even remember making the decision, I just did it. I don't know if that's bravery, but I do know I did the right thing.
Share your story in the comments below. Thanks for watching.